Hello and thank you for joining me. I am Tina Kavrigic and Northern Stamper, and today we are going to be making a card using Uniquely Artistic. This is one of a fancy fold type of card. Very simple, but it is a lot of fun. And we're going to be doing lots of stamping. So what we're going to need is a card base, and I've chosen to use Balmy Blue. I want a regular card base, which is 8.5 by 5.5. And what we're going to do initially is we will fold this, but I do have a matching mat that I've used from the Balmy Blue also, and a piece of basic white that fits inside, just clears that stitched edging around the edge of that scalloped contour dies. And we do need a piece of 4 by 5.25 basic white. Now, what we need to do is choose some designer series paper. I'm using from Hues of Happiness. You can use whatever side you like, but I'm going to use this kind of a subtle pattern, and we're going to be cutting some pieces of that out. So those are all the pieces that we need. So let's get started, and we are going to start with the card base. The first fold that we're going to do is do a regular fold. I'm going to place it and fold it right in half. Okay, so there it is, right in half. Very easy. In the middle, there. Now I want to fold back this front part, and it is, you can either measure it or you can just do it easy and fold it back over on itself. I'm going to line it up with the corners and fold it back on itself. So when you have it done, it looks kind of like that. Very simple. Okay, a nice little fold over. There we go. If you prefer with a score line, that is fine. That is great. So what's going to happen is that piece of basic white is going to sit on the inside of our card. And since we have it there right now, let's just quickly glue that down so we don't lose that piece of basic white. Add that and just pop it on there on the inside. And I'm going to leave a nice edge all the way around. What we need to do is I'm going to take some of our basic designer series paper. As I said, I'm going to be using this side. There are little bits of Balmy Blue in here, and we need to cut this down a little bit. So I'm going to cut it at 4 inches. So it's going to be 4 inches this way. So I'm going to cut it 4 inches, and then I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to cut at 5.5. So it's going to be 5.5 by 4. Okay. And what I want to do is I'm going to actually then come back and cut this piece right in half. Because it's cut at 4, half of that is 2, and I'm going to cut that right down the middle so I have 2 pieces. And if I lay them on top, I will see that this one fits right very snugly on the very top, and the other piece should fit nice and snugly on the inside. So they do. So let's glue those down so we don't lose that in our desk. I don't know about you, but it seems to be whenever I put something down, it goes missing on my desk. It doesn't matter. I could have the cleanest desk, but still goes missing. Okay, so that's on the one side. Again, see, it doesn't matter what side you use. This side actually looks very lovely too. But I don't want it to overpower the flowers that I'm going to be using from Uniquely Artistic. So I'm going to flip that over. But of course, it is always your choice, your card. Design it which way you like. So when I open it now, I can see that both sides have the pattern paper on it. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put this aside for the moment because I don't need it right now, and I'm going to bring in this piece of scalloped edge, and what I want to work on is this piece of basic white. I'm going to be doing some stamping on that, so let's put this aside and get some stamping. Before I begin, I want to pick out what sentiment I want to use, and I need to place that down first. And I'm going to use from Lovely and Lasting, I'm going to use the Thank You. I like that script. I think it looks really nice. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay that script right there in the middle. Now I've decided to use Memento Black so that it stands out a little bit more. If you want, you can definitely use black, or if you want, you can use a color that you're inking your flowers with. But I'm just going to pop that on there in the center on the right side, so it'll be on that one side. Okay, so I have that. And from the Uniquely Artistic, I'm going to be using this flower here, and what I want to do is I'm going to fill up some of this area with that outline of the flower, and I liked blue and purple, so I'm going to be using Gorgeous Grape. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to work first with my first one, and I'm going to just clear the wording on that one side. Okay, so it looks like I have a little bit on the flower in the middle. I can either flip that over or I can hide it with a gem, but in the meantime I'm going to clean my stamp just to make sure I get all of that image, whatever it is, could be cat hair or a piece of dust, and I want that cleaned out. And I'm going to use the Stampin' Scrub because that does a really good job of getting in between all of the little nooks and crannies. So let's ink it up again. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the flower a little bit, and I'm going to clear it on one side just of that wording, and look, it cleared up that little piece of dust. And I'm going to add, and I'm going to turn the paper, and I'm going to keep stamping, and I'm going to have some of that flower come off to the side, and so it fills it up. Okay, so that's good. That looks really nice. I like how that looks, and there's a little piece. Maybe I can add just a little piece of that flower to there. Okay, now I want to add in some leaves. Now before I do that, I need to make a flower that I can cut out so I can do some masking. I want to mask some of that because when I stamp the leaf, I don't want that to get on the flower. So I'm going to just stamp a piece so I can cut it out and use it as a mask. So I'm just going to quickly cut that out. Now I've cut it out, so even though it is very close to the line, or even sometimes even over the line, that's okay. Because when I lay it down, I want that masking portion to be hidden. Now I can use, let's see, there's a whole bunch of different leaf selections that you can use. I really like these these little branches here, and I'm going to be using two colors of green. I'm going to use Pear Pizzazz and Soft Seafoam. I like how they look all together, and let's place that on a block. I'm going to use one. I'm going to use the Pear Pizzazz, one of them, and I'm going to use that flower that I had masked, and I'm going to lay it down, and it covers it up, and I'm just going to stamp. I'm going to be careful not to stamp into any other flower. I don't want that to be stamped onto any flower and bleed into any other flower like that. So I'm going to carefully look where I'm putting it and just kind of add it in. Because the Pear Pizzazz is a little darker, okay, I'm not going to overly do it. I'm just going to add some as I like that and fill up some of that white space. I'm not going to fill up too much space close to the wording because I don't want it to compete with the words itself. Okay, so I did a few in the darker color, and I want to do some. I'm going to grab a different one. I'm going to take this one leaf, this very tiny little one, and I'm going to use the Soft Seafoam and fill in a little bit more. So I'm going to put that down, put it on the block, ink up with my Soft Seafoam. Okay, and I am going to mask again some of those flowers carefully so that it doesn't go on to any other flower. Now this color is very gentle. It looks really nice together with the Pear Pizzazz. So I just can ink that up. Okay. And that will add some really nice design element to the flower. Okay, so I'm just going to fill that up. I can go a little bit more into the words because it is such a lighter color. Okay, just keep moving your paper and your mask around. There we go. Now you can see it's all coming together. Just lay that down there. This one can have a little bit extra. There we go. And as it comes together, there we go. Very, very nice. I think I can fit one more in and kind of down into the wording. There we go. So it's not competing too much with that thank you, which is in black, but the soft seafoam does add a little bit of the two-tone color there. Okay. What we're going to do next is we are going to bring in that scalloped edge. Okay. And we can lay that down on top. Now, if you want, before you glue, if you wanted to add some ribbon to that and just wrapped around this one portion or around the whole blue, it's totally up to you. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to wrap it around the basic white. I don't want it wrapped around the whole scalloped edge. I'm just going to have it on the basic white. It is up to you if you have a bow or a ribbon across and a little knot. I really like the look of a knot ribbon. I like that a lot. Okay, and it is cut so it just clears and sits with a nice frame around. I'm going to take a piece of ribbon. Okay, I'm going to make a little knot. Now I'm going to offset it onto the opposite side of where the wording is, because if I place it right under the wording, it will compete with that sentiment and look a little heavy on the one side. So your eye doesn't, your brain, when you look at something, it doesn't like it when it's too crowded. So it likes it so that things are balanced. So there's one, and then so right across is balanced, the little bow. Now, when you place this on the front, remember, just run your strip of glue on the one side. You don't want it completely all over the back, because otherwise you're going to glue your card all together down. So I'm going to place that down, and I want it so it's nicely framed all the way around. Okay. Again, add some Wink of Stella. Now the Wink of Stella, when you add it, make sure that you are dabbing, because if you do it like a paintbrush, some of the ink will spread, unless that's what you would like to do. Just carefully do that. So as I'm adding this, I can see some of the ink on the center of the flowers are spreading over. Now, I want to use the Wink of Stella to pick up the little sparkle from that ribbon. Okay, if you want, stamp your another sentiment on the inside, or if you like, you can add some little leaves to the edging here as a little surprise as they open it up. So let's get a little bit of leaves on the side, so when you're opening it up, there we go. And I'm going to be using the two colors again. And I'm going to actually fill in some of this with the soft seafoam. There we go. kind of adds some color there. And I'm going to stamp over a little further on the leaves. There we go. And you could do that for the top. You could do it completely up and down the side if you want. It is up to you. Don't forget to add a sentiment. But when you add your sentiment on the inside, make sure it is hidden by the scalloped frame when it's closed. So you want it kind of right in the center. So when you open it, it's like a little surprise. Okay, so there we go. Very simple card, but it does look very lovely. Okay, so let me know what you think of that. I'd love to see what you've created and give us some ideas. Thank you.